Welcome to a new episode of Build Maker. Here we see how a talented man from the Netherlands single-handedly builds an incredible treehouse cabin in a tree. The project, called the Treehouse Experiment, is part of its own documentary series being produced in a completely off-grid environment. His biggest rule is no plastic can be used. Everything must be natural, eco-friendly, and long-lasting. He cuts the wood very precisely so that each piece will fit together when it is assembled in the next step. He then uses a chisel to create perfect grooves on the edges of the wood, making the connection stronger. Deep holes are now being drilled at the joints of the wooden frame with a drill machine, so that bolts can be firmly fitted. Now large metal bolts are being inserted into the holes, which will firmly hold the entire wooden structure to the tree. Now the man is creating special metal support arms that will keep the treehouse's wooden frame firmly attached to the tree. He is using a rotatable mechanism at the head of each joint so that the structure can adapt to the natural movements of the tree. Now the man is installing the main support beam around the tree, which will hold the weight of the entire treehouse and balance the base structure. He then temporarily secures the beam with metal clamps so that it doesn't move in any direction while drilling. The man is tightening the bolts one by one with a spanner in his hand so that the wooden beams are firmly connected to each other. The man is drilling holes in a massive wooden beam with precision. He measures the distance and depth of each hole so that the bolts fit properly and the wood doesn't break. His meticulous work now makes the treehouse's foundation stronger, more balanced, and safer, in perfect harmony with nature. Diagonal support beams are now being installed under the wooden frame, which will balance the structure and make the entire house more stable. The man begins work on the new pieces of wood, cutting each piece precisely so that it fits the frame exactly. With a handsaw, he slowly cuts the wood into shape, making the corners so that there are no gaps when they are joined. He uses a measuring scale and old carpenter's tools to make sure each edge is even. Each beam is perfectly aligned with the steel joints attached to the tree, ensuring the structure remains stable without damaging the tree. Diagonal supports are being added to each corner of the wood. This will evenly distribute the weight of the house and keep the entire frame stable. Now he is choosing a thick tree trunk, which will be the new support beam for the treehouse, his trust in natural wood. He is removing the bark from the trunk with an electric sander, creating a smooth surface that will absorb the oil more easily. He is using a special machine to make precise cuts on the rounded edges of the wood, which will later be fitted together with the other parts. He is taking measurements repeatedly to make sure each size is perfect, because a single mistake can weaken the entire structure.
Later.
He is installing thick wooden pillars at the bottom of the treehouse with a scaffold which will properly distribute the house's weight towards the ground. Each wooden pillar is placed on a concrete pad placed above the ground, so that the wood does not come into direct contact with the soil's moisture. Now the man is placing heavy beams on the wooden pillars he has made, slowly raising the structure to its full height. Each beam weighs a lot, so he is lifting it up with perfect balance so that it does not tilt in any direction. He is using special joints at the junction of the wooden pillars and beams, which will hold the wood together firmly for many years. The wooden beams are now being connected under the roof above. Every bolt and joint is making the whole structure stronger. The wooden beams are now being connected under the roof above. Every bolt and joint is making the whole structure stronger. The support beams that were installed below are now connected to the new wooden sections, making the whole treehouse more stable in balance. Round holes are being made between the wooden posts so that the support timber can be firmly inserted and the entire structure is stronger. The ends of the small wooden beams are being coated with tung oil, which will protect the wood from water, insects, and weather damage. After the oil dries, the beams are gradually fitted into the holes, perfectly sized. The timbers are being secured using nuts and bolts in each pair so that the structure does not loosen over time.
Need to speed things up.
The extra wood pieces are being cut very precisely so that the treehouse structure is straight and symmetrical. A protective oil or coating is applied to the surface of the wood so that moisture or rain cannot damage the wood. A plywood sheet is placed on top. This will be the base layer of the floor, on which the subsequent flooring will be placed. The extra pieces of the wooden planks are being measured and cut so that the entire frame can be placed straight and perfectly. The wood is being rubbed and smoothed so that paint or oil can be applied easily and the finish is beautiful. By placing the wood around the tree, he ensures that the tree can grow while still maintaining stability. Each board is aligned correctly with the support beam beneath the wooden boards, which will help create a strong floor in the next step. The installation of the stair pillars has begun to create a solid base for climbing onto the wooden platform. Once the metal pillar is fully hardened, the iron steps will be attached one by one around it, creating the structure of the spiral staircase. The wooden beams are being cut to specific sizes to facilitate the construction of the wall frame. The wall frame is being erected and the beams are being placed on top, securing the entire structure tightly.
Interesting. Cooking.
The work of installing the wooden frames for the side walls of the treehouse has begun. Each frame is being measured and installed straight so that the wall is perfectly balanced. Each wooden frame is being installed in such a way that the window space is also determined. Now the wooden frames are being sized and fitted one by one in place. After the frame is properly installed, the work of installing wooden boards on it has begun. One by one, the entire wall is being covered with boards. Now it is taking the shape of a strong wall. The woodwork for the canopy has begun on the upper part of the frame. The edges and corners of the wood pieces are being fine-tuned to be straight. Each piece of wood is being cut to size precisely so that there are no gaps. A triangular frame is being made to house the cabin's roof. The timbers are being cut at specific angles and joined together to form a solid triangle. The entire structure looks exactly like a professional roof frame. New pieces of wood are being prepared to join the two sides of the triangular frame together. After cutting, the pieces of wood are placed in the middle of the frame and aligned. The pieces of wood are being firmly attached to each other by drilling holes and inserting screws. The roof beams are being installed one by one, so that the entire frame is balanced. Now triangular wooden blocks are being made on both sides, which will form the corners of the roof. Special care is being taken to measure and place each corner correctly. The wooden beams are now being drilled with a drill machine to allow screws to be inserted. Each screw is being inserted precisely into the wooden triangular frame. The triangular frame of the roof is now fully erected, which will hold the roof firmly in place in the future. Work has now begun on installing tin sheets on the wooden frame of the roof. On the other hand, tree branches are being cut and prepared to make the pillars of the veranda. The thick tree trunks selected for the veranda are being measured and cut to the specified length. The pillars are being erected one by one and fitted tightly into the ground. The pieces of wood are now being sanded to perfection to create the window frame. The frame is being carefully positioned so that the glass window can be properly installed. After the window is installed in the frame, it is now being firmly secured on all sides with a screw machine. From the outside, it can be seen that the new window blends in perfectly with the wooden cabin. The timbers are being measured and cut to specific sizes to create the veranda frame. Each joint of the timber is being accurately measured and cut to fit perfectly. The wooden pillar for the corner of the balcony is being placed correctly to create a strong foundation. This step is the foundation for the shape and beauty of the entire balcony. After the pillar is properly positioned, the extra parts are now being separated with marks. The extra parts of the wood are being trimmed so that the entire pillar is even. The new pillars are now being installed on the other side of the porch, each piece of wood being measured and fitted neatly. The wooden pillars are now being firmly installed, with screws being used to hold each section in place. The pieces of wood are being cut precisely so that the pillars sit flush with the floor. A protective coat is being applied inside the wooden hole to make it durable. The pillar part is being firmly placed inside that hole. Paint job begins. With one brush stroke after another, the wooden borders are getting a new shine. Thin boards are being cut to size, which will be used as the outer covering of the walls. The boards are being fitted to the structure one by one and secured with nails or screws. Each board is placed correctly on the structure and fastened tightly with a screw machine. Starting from one end of the wall, he gradually installs all the boards. After installing all the boards one by one, the wall is now completely closed and solid. Long pieces of wood are machine cut with great precision to fill gaps in the wood. After the wood is cut, it is treated with natural oil for protection and color brilliance. Thin wooden strips have begun to be installed to close the gaps in the walls. After fitting each piece of wood well, it is being firmly secured with nails and screws. Now the gaps in the wood are being completely cleaned and filled. A wooden strip is being placed over each gap and secured tightly with a screw machine. Finally, this wooden treehouse is completely standing, as if it has merged with the surrounding nature. Through this construction, he proved that if you want, you can build a dream home, even in the middle of a forest.